like deep meaning to it. Mine don't. Um, it was. I wish it did. I wish I had a great story. I hate when that question come up, but it. Yeah, I know. It was my rap name was Big Mel, cause my name is Melvin, and they used to call me Big Mel, but that's like the most boring rap name in the game. So I would rhyme it with fish scales all the time. You know, it had a negative connotation talking about drugs and whatnot. So one of my partners, Prophet, who's no longer in the group, he was like, "Man, you should just call yourself Fish Scales and just be done with it." And I'm like, that's pretty cool. I should roll with it. So after I went with Fish Scales, I just said, I tried to find the meaning behind it. And, it really wasn't much I found, but then I found out that I'm a Libra. I never been in astrology really, but I found out I'm a Libra, and the sign for that is a fish. Is a scales. Sorry, is a scales. And my mama is a Pisces. So fish. So I kind of put it towards that and just roll with it. Nothing deep, just a rhyme I had.
You know what's another funny story is none of us had these names when we were signed. Like we was like, yeah. they called us our real nicknames.
What was it?
You can see.
What?
You
Hold
find
time out.
posters.
What
All
are
right,
the real?
okay,
what are
so-
the real nicknames? That's
well, I
what we.
mean-
That's what this is about. What are the real nicknames?
All right, so I played football growing up, so they just keep your first letter, your name, and then first letter, your first name, and then your last name. So B. Scott was mine, and that's what I came to school as. Everybody knew me that like that. But I remember going to the record label when we got signed, and they was like, "Okay, so when y'all leave this room, we're gonna do some interviews, and y'all gonna have to like sign some stuff." And then I was just like, "Well, I'm not really ready to decide what my rap name really is." And Sidney Morganson, one of the reps for Atlantic Records, was like, "You're not gonna leave this room until you think of your name and write it down 100 times so you even got a signature. And then once you got that, we'll leave." So that's when I decided to spell my name with the E on the end, with Be Still, because I come from Louisville, so I spell it Stille. But none of us really had our real names already, so we all kind of was like, "All right, it's time to jump into that second personality, that second persona." So it was really cool, man. We was forced to do it, but it worked out.
So much in the name. Yeah. So
Yeah.
much in the name.
For me, I mean, he clearly they call him Ron C. But he's still Clutch or Ron. But
Hold on, tell it right. So when I was a kid, my uncle Buck, my father's brother, he used to call me Ron C. This was like 82, 81. This was a long time ago. And back, as a kid, nicknames, everybody wants a nickname. But when I got to college, my roommate Tez, who was one of the original members of the group, he started calling me Ron C, like out the blue. And he was listening to Ron C's music, like
Ron C is a real rapper. He's in the 90s.
Ron C, shout out to Ron C, representing Texas. So we was listening to Ron C's music, and that name it came back up. And then one day, Skinny gave me some paperwork and was like, "You need to put your official rap name on this paperwork right here." And I was like, "Man." And it was due like immediately. I'm sure I might have took more time than I should have. But I said, you know what? Let me stop running from my middle name. And I just went with Clutch, Ron Clutch. So that was the stages of
Son.
the name.
I thought Clutch was the coolest, craziest middle name I ever heard. Cause really?
That's a whole nother story.
But he was my closest friend in college. We got to college at the same time, 93. And yeah, everybody knew him as Ron or Ron C, but he couldn't use that because someone already had it. Kind of like T.I. and Q-Tip. He had to make an adjustment. But as far as my first name, it was San, which is my short for my middle name, which is Rasan. No one calls me that, not even from high school. They always called me San. And then at one crazy part of my early on life career, I was like, I'm going to call myself San Spawn. I love Spawn. I thought he was the coolest character in the world. Like, he came back from hell and was trying to fix his life, redemption. And I did some things I wasn't proud of in high school. And I thought if I can at least use that to do better, then that would be my name. But San Spawn didn't really sound as cool as Skinny DeVille. So I switched it to Skinny DeVille. But everybody in college knows me as Son or high school. So if you know me, you can call me that. But if you don't, then it's Skinny DeVille.
Yeah, respect. I got a couple of names myself.
Terrible.
No. I paused for a second. I started to say it, and then I was like, nah.
You regretted
You
saying
blinked
that.
like 4 times. I said she ain't gonna say it.
What about Fish? What was it before Fish?
I
Before
mean, you heard the Big Mel story,
yeah.
but in high school it was Simply Mel. I know it's stupid.
There's definitely a
Bud,
story
Big
behind
Bud, though.
Simply Mel.
I was a fan of Simply Red, and I said, you know what, this might work. And I bought a beanie hat that had Simple on it, and I said, and it just came out of nowhere. I said Simply Mel.
Simply Mel.
That was before Big Mel.
Yeah.
Then here
I'm
we
glad.
are.
I'm
Fish
glad there's
Gas.
been some evolution.
Yes.
I, think,
Thank
I
you.
feel like that
There-
worked
and then
out.
There's Elbow Adams. There's Big Bud. There's Sloppy Drunk. There's a lot of things. Grizzly Adams. We
All
can do
of
this
them.
all day.
Yeah, we all developed like several aliases now.
You
so
have to have them.
that's right.
Yeah. So I mean, you guys are able to tell us about high school and college. You've been together for a while. You've been around for a while, and I want you to talk about it's 2 parts, right? Talk about the longevity piece and the legacy piece, but I also want, because you guys are touring together. I mean, you're traveling together. You're with each other, recording together, doing spots together. And I know that there has to be something about each one of you that gets on the other person's nerves, where you're like, if this man does this one more time, it's going to be a problem. So let's start with that, and then let's talk about the importance of legacy and longevity. So you don't have to do everybody on the panel, but I really hope that there's not one person on this stage that everybody's like, oh my God.
You might end up getting that. That's what I'm scared of.
Nobody's perfect up here.
Nobody's
Let's start with
perfect.
that.
We'll start with that. I mean, so we've been doing this. Me and Clutch hooked up in '93. We came up with the idea to start the group in '95. And between 95 and 98 is when Steel and Scales kind of came through the ranks, along with Big V and Prophet.
At Western Kentucky.
Yeah, we was at Western Kentucky going to school, and just trying to figure out life. You know, you're in your 20s, you don't know what's going on. Well, we all knew we wanted to rap or be successful at rapping. And so we came together as a group because everybody was dope in their own right, but not one person could have came out of Kentucky at that time to represent how the state needed to be represented by themselves. You know, it was just too much going on. You had Nelly, you had Petey Pablo, you had Bubba Sparks. You're coming off of Outkast. You know, the early 2000s was a really, the South was on its way up and was blowing up. You had Cash Money, No Limit. So we wanted to be almost like a super group like Wu-Tang, but think of ourselves like a Cash Money and No Limit as far as independence and just doing what we wanted to do. And so a lot of personalities had to mix to become, you know, kind of homogenous group. You know, everybody had their own style, but everybody was rapping how they wanted to rap. But everybody had this little thing of what we call nappiness in them. They were just keeping it real. They were saying how it was. They weren't talking about something they weren't doing. They were lyrical, and they was able to stand out amongst everybody else that came that year as freshmen or whatever, rappers. And so me and Clutch were the oldest ones, so we was able to kind of hover above the fray as kind of, you know, juniors and seniors, and just kind of pick that dope guy that was standing out that year and kind of just come on over here and see what we're doing over here. So for that, a lot of personalities and attitudes had to kind of set some things aside to do with Nappy Roots. The overall agenda of Nappy Roots was just be dope, down home, keep it true to yourself. Don't talk about nothing you're not doing, but still be dope. But within that, you know, somebody doesn't want to eat this. Somebody wants to go here. Somebody's always going to be late. Someone's always going to be early. Someone's going to be drunk. Someone's going to be high. Someone's not going to do none of that and be mad at everybody. somebody wants to be successful, somebody doesn't care.
She wants the
know.
names of these somebodies. That's what she's saying.
No, man, that's all of us at any given time of day.
Okay. It's a safe space, though.
I know.
All right, I'll go first.
But hold on, let me finish my statement though, because we had to put all that into a van, and drive around for 2 years trying to get our name and our brand out, coming out of where we came from, coming from Georgia and Kentucky, and you're dealing with every city in the country. You know, from a country boy's perspective, going to a big city is kind of scary and intimidating. But we was able to stick together and work as a team and a unit, so nobody was scared. You know, so if somebody didn't want to do this, several other people, you know, took that lead and stepped up. If somebody was sick, there's 5 other people that were healthy. You know, if someone, you know, wanted to really do this and everybody didn't, you know, you still had to compromise. And so the thing about Nappy, as far as both sides of that coin, is longevity is because we compromised and we saw the bigger picture for all of us to get to where we were going. And we all was going in that same direction for whether it's like Big V and Prophet for a little while or like the 4 of us for a long while. And we've been able to do this for over 20 years because you're dealing with grown men and attitudes, but you got to be humble enough to know that my point ain't always going to be the think of it like a Chinese star versus a sword. You're going to throw it, it's going to hit something if you got good aim. And if you swing it, you're going to chop something. But we like to think of ourselves as both because where one is weak, we're all as strong. And when somebody doesn't want to do something, we all can. And so that's what gives us the longevity and ability to be humble and be, you know, we call it humble pie. Someone's going to eat that pie today. You know what I'm saying? And whether it's me or it's Scales and we laugh at Steel, or it's Steel and Clutch laughing at me, or, you know, us 3 are laughing at him or whatever. It's like we are humble enough to be brothers in the race that we're in, which is trying to be just successful black men and represent where we're from and show the next generation that we can still pull this off if we stick together.
That's really beautiful. Thank you.
That's what's up.
Nobody wants to follow it up with the tea after that.
Well, we're not going to throw shade on each other.
No, we don't want shade.
No, I was going to say I showed up late today. So that's one of probably the issues that. But
is that a pattern? Is that a pattern?
We'll let him answer.
That's two. Okay.
That's 2 heckles. Yeah.
I know that heckler. I didn't know the other heckler. But for whatever reason, the universe is like, okay, I'm gonna test you today. So I was late. I have a reason. I you know, most of the time I have a reason. We all have a reason.
We finally get this reason.
Oh, y'all didn't know.
For this.
Oh yeah, what is the reason?
Today. It's too complicated to go into.
Okay.
I don't want to air too much dirty business.
Okay.
But yeah. I hope that satisfied your craving.
Yeah, I mean you're the late guy, and the universe conspires against you sometimes.
Yeah, I'll say this, man. It's great, like to be amongst each others and make the mistakes that we made in life. Like it's taught me a lot. Like it's humbled me a lot. Like these guys have seen me at my worst, and they didn't judge me. They came in and helped me, and I hope I've done the same for them. But that means a lot to be able to grow up with some guys who are growing up with you and have your best interests in mind. You know, a lot of people leave high school and they kind of on their own. You know, they trying to figure it out. I left high school, went to college, met these guys, and we made mistakes together. So all of that stuff, being late, being drunk, missing a show or falling on stage, all of that has happened to all of us. You know what I'm saying? It happened, some more than others, true enough. But to do it with these guys who didn't judge me but helped me get better the next time.
We joked on you, though. We did joke on you.
Oh, you're going to get joked on.
Have to. That's a really, you guys, when you first came in, several months ago when we saw you on the news and you guys followed up and came into the museum, there's just like everything that you just talked about. Like the spirit of brotherhood, the spirit of humility, the spirit of like genuine kindness is really what draws people to you. I can only speak for us, but here at the museum, like that's when we're interacting with people who come through, the ability to just sit down and have a conversation, the ability to sit in the boardroom, the ability to sit in the green room. You know, my team being able to talk to you guys and do a minor notes and you guys sign off, and like that's really special, and I think that's one of the things that makes you all special. So thank you for that, and thank you for acknowledging, you know, being brothers and being Black men who are really, really trying to do something for the people, the community, the culture that you represent. So yeah, thank you for that. You guys know it's Black Music Month, right? All right. So some people don't know that. We are 45 years in for Black Music Month. June 7th was the actual anniversary, and we had one of the founders, who is also a board member, Deanna Williams, here. One of the questions that I asked her, the original tagline for Black Music Month was "Black music is green." And we talked about the economic value of Black artists, Black culture, all of it. And so I want you guys to speak a little bit to that. What you see that as, Black music is green, what that means to you all in terms of producing albums, releasing albums, in terms of your entrepreneurial spirit and everything that has come up for you guys over the past 20 years.
Yeah, I'll speak on it real quick. I like the term Black Music Month is about green. That is, you got to follow the dollar. In so many cases, the dollar will answer a lot of problems. Not all problems. We know that for sure. But in the music industry, that means two things. That means owning your music and being able to put it out the way you want to, so you can cash in on it. And that's where the power's at, man. Consumers matter, ownership matters. But yeah, we have to take control, and control means, you know, cashing in on your music. People come to you if you're making revenue off of your music. Opportunities will come to you if you're making revenue off your music. A lot of us in the past 20 years have just been making music and putting it on hard drives just to say we're rappers or artists. But the key is we have to have more education on how to own your music, or own a big percentage of it at least, and how to put it out to cash in on it. Like, and then you could take that money and it benefits all the neighborhoods that you wanted to benefit. So money definitely matters. And that's what I take when you say, I never heard that phrase, but Black History Month is green. That's what I take from it right away. It's ownership and ability to cash in on your music.
I want to add, well, I want to set the record straight. All music in America originated from Black music.
There you go.
And I mean all. And I mean, I know we're in Music City and country music capital of the world, but that started out Black too. So, you know, us being out here, what Scales was saying, like, music is one thing, but we do like to say that music opened the door for a lot of other stuff, you know, endorsement opportunities and, you know, sponsorships, and even us owning this brewery right now. So we own a brewery, one of the first Black-owned breweries in the state of Georgia. We own, it's called Atlantucky.
Big up that.
Yeah.
And it comes from music.
And it came from our music. And so, like, these are the things that it's like branching off of this music tree. Like, I mean, man, it is green, because it's not just beer. Like, we wouldn't have had this opportunity had it not been for music. We wouldn't be sitting on this stage had it not been for music, you know. So, yeah, Black music is green, but all music is Black music.
Real quick, too, we've been here to this museum, and it's amazing. Like, hopefully we're a part of that. Well, we are a part of that tree. And just watching the video display that y'all have of going all the way back to Joplin, and it's like you showed the influences who influenced him, and there was nobody. Like, he started it. And for us to be on this end of it almost 100 years later, if not, it's amazing, man, to be here and to have the control that we now have as independent artists. Being Nappy Roots, we do control the narrative of our music, and I'm sure that was almost impossible back in the day. You know, so it's great to be here and to be a part of that legacy.
When I think of green, I think of like a nice lawn or a nice patch of grass that you 40 acres type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm thinking like with that, it takes me back to what most artists get into the business for is fortune and fame, or fame and fortune. It's the music business. It's a business. Even though you're talented, you have to figure out a way that you can still make a dollar off of it to survive. A lot of artists live check to check and they go gig to gig, and that's how they live, but they're happy. And part of chasing that dream is controlling the narrative, and to make money, to invest back into yourself or to your family, your neighborhood, or whatever. Generational wealth is. Me and Scales was talking about this a couple of days ago. It's like it's kind of a new idea for us as African Americans. Like you're either artists or you're playing sports, or you're going through the ranks of like going to school, becoming a doctor or a lawyer, or how all the way up. But as far as entertainers, that's all you want to be is an entertainer if you really want to be one. So it's a harder road to get to that fortune part. You can be famous without the fortune, and to make green or to have your own lawn that you water with your fortune or your fame is the end result of what you want to do as an artist. You want to be able to make your money and give back to either you had it good or how hard you had it. You want to change the narrative of where you're from for the most part. I'm going to say 65, 75% of artists want to do that. They want to give back. They have funds. They go back to their school. They go back to the alma mater. They go and tell someone else, you can do this if you listen and follow your heart. That's all part of your tree growing. Nappy Roots, the roots part is you don't see what we went through to get to us to have a tree house and put a swing on that tree. You know what I'm saying? But if you're an artist, you're thinking not just in the money part, but how can I give back and change the world for the better as best you can? And that's the green part that I'm thinking of when you say that, because it's not just about the money. If you do it for the money, you'll never be happy. You'll get the money doing what you love, no matter what job or what career or what you're passionate about. Follow your heart and your dreams, and you'll find the green that you're looking for. It ain't somebody else's lawn; it's yours.
It's a fact.
Like that, yeah.
I'll just add that just a little backstory. When Nappy Roots started, when we recorded and released our first album, it was Country Fried Sets, and it was on CD. So that's back when you had to have a CD presser. And we all took turns taking a shift to press out the CD, print up the CD, cut the inserts. So we've watched the evolution of how music is distributed, disseminated amongst the public. It went from albums to 8-tracks to cassettes to CDs to Laserdisc, even to streaming. But it came back to albums. So this was just my shameless plug to say that. We got Nappy for Life. Part 1 is on album. So all the vinyl heads out there, all the album heads, if you're looking for a dope ass collectible, I mean to cuss. I know some kids out there might be. Check us out at nappyroots.com.
But Clutch, I'm sad because I asked for it today. I said, do they have the vinyls with them?
We didn't bring no vinyl?
Because, yeah.
It's all online right now.
I know.
We're pushing the narrative of, support some country ass black folk trying to put out music again the old school way on wax. But we'll get you one, though.
I appreciate that.
If we brought you one, I have to give everybody one.
Yeah, I understand.
And that
I understand.
takes away from fortune and fame.
I was going to buy it. Because
Black music is green, right?
Black music is green.
So
I was supporting the cause.
We would have gave you one.
Yeah, I appreciate
Still are.
that.
We're going to give you one.
I appreciate that.
Could you tell us what your what it means to you? Because
Black music is green?
Yeah.
So when we talked about it last week, one of the conversations that we have a lot in the museum is, based on the commodification of Black art, the commodification of Black people, period, since 1619. I'm trying not to get on my soapbox right now, but since we are in the Roots Theater, so for me, when I first heard it, and the reason I posed the question to Deanna was because, for so many years, if Black Music Month has been around for 45 years, and then everything prior to Black Music Month, for so many years, just as you said, in terms of like owning your rights, owning your masters, owning your labels, all of that, we were not able to do that. And so to say Black music is green, well, who's getting the green? Right? And that's the conversation that that is important, and that I think, you know, when you think about the founders of Black Music Month, when you think about Deanna, when you think about Mr. Ed Wright, when you think about Mr. Kenny Gamble, someone else up here talked about the business side of music, and they were looking at the business side of music. They had been to Nashville, they had seen the Country Music Association, and they had decided to start the Black Music Association to make sure that the business side of music for Black people was happening, so that we were getting what we were supposed to get. But this metaphor on like the lawn and the tree and the roots and the tree house, that's a beautiful way to look at it as well, and like how it has to be in your lawn first. Like you have to make sure that you are pouring into yourself, your family, your community, in order to make everything else green, and in order to really make that ripple effect. So yeah, I think that's for me.
Yeah, and we've seen too many artists. Another thing come to mind is we've seen too many Black artists die poor. Like, and that's just, you know, that's been in our heads since we was kids, hearing about so and so, hearing about Red Fox, who was the artist of his own kind, but just hearing a different artist dying poor, you know, never owning, not having any money, you know, and these are people who we regard as not just mega superstars, you know, dying poor, and yeah, that has to be constantly worked on and changed.
Yeah, absolutely. Scales, you mentioned, so the full title of what we're doing is Roots and Streams Conversation with Friends. And you did a wonderful plug for our interactive, which is called Roots and Streams. And you talked about how Joplin was a pioneer. And so one of the questions that I have for you guys is, who is one of your major influences? And then where have you seen your influence on others who are out today?
My father, man. I'm gonna just say that. And it's Father's Day weekend, so shout out to all
happy
the fathers
Father's Day.
in the house
Absolutely.
tonight. But my father, Sam Scott, was my main inspiration. Once he found out that I could rap, which was a crazy story, like I just had notebooks that was supposed to be full of math problems, and had rhymes, and you know what I'm saying? My mother came through, she was like, "Where's your homework at?" And I'm just like, I mean, these are raps. So she was like, "All right, we'll do one." And so I did my rap for her. And my father actually played in a band when he was growing up. He was able to witness the Chitlin Circuit come through his small little town in Marion County, Lebanon, Kentucky. And I mean, he, you know, saw Jimi Hendrix when he first got out the army, you know what I'm saying? And Ike and Tina, you know, Ray Charles and all of them people that was coming through on the Chitlin Circuit, that came through his little hometown, and he would kind of sneak in the segregated thing and just soak in what a true star looks like. And so he used to manage groups when I was growing up. And I was hooking up piano chords and microphone stands and all that stuff. And I was just the kid. But I had this whole backpack full of notebooks of rhymes, you know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, so my father actually, once he found out, sat me down and made me take it serious. He's the one that told me that I needed to separate myself and be a little different and start dressing a little different as well. And so that's the reason why I'm wearing this. Now, as far as influence, what's going on now with hip-hop and country, I think that Nappy Roots is a big inspiration and a big pioneer to that. And I mean, I seen it, you know what I'm saying? Because we lived it. Nappy Roots came out in 2002, and this was the height of bling bling. You know what I'm saying? The bling bling era. So we ain't had the diamond chains and, you know, the big old Bentleys and cars and all that stuff that Cash Money and all that was rapping about. That's what the whole world was on. And then we came out with talking about All My Life by Ben Poe, but it really don't matter no more. And we was the top selling group that year. So it just let me know that we did break the mold, and then we slowly but surely started seeing other people started trying what we did and jumping in our lane. But, you know, can't nobody do it like Nappy. That's it.
That's right.
With the Nappy Roots being born in Kentucky, we had the advantages of being like in Middle America. Like Kentucky is one of the few states. I think Tennessee is another one that's bordered by like 6 or 7 states. So I grew up listening to. My introduction to hip hop was the Rapping Duke. I remember hearing that on the radio. That was like '83, and then um, our landlord's son had left a Slick Rick tape in the living room, and it had Indian Girl on there. And I was blasting that, and I remember my daddy coming there and saying, "Boy, you can't play that when your mama come here. Turn it down a little bit." But it went from that to Big Daddy Kane to LL Cool J to Rakim, and then when the West Coast hit it, you know, Ice Cube, NWA, and then going down south, further south, like Central South, Texas, it was Scarface, Ghetto Boys, UGK. Going back out to the West Coast, we had E40, Too Short. And then going up north, it was Common. So that was my inspirations. You know, it was so many different inspirations. But when I got to college, that's when I was like, okay. I said, Skinny, we're gonna start a rap group. We went to class, came back. He was like, all right. And then shortly after that, we had like a 4-track beat machine. Our homeboy Tez was making beats. But as far as who we inspiring, I think we inspired a generation of folks to not be ashamed of who you are. And if you don't have it, it's okay, but you're going to get it. So we was like truth sayers, so to speak. Because like what Steele was talking about, in that area, it was bling bling. Everybody had diamonds. Everybody wanted to be the freshest. But we was out here talking about, you know, day-to-day street stuff, campus stuff, and trying to better your situation. You know, some of us is here on scholarship. Some of us is here on financial aid. And that was our story. You know, turning, what was the bar? Scales and Steele said, took these college degrees and applied them to streets. So that pretty much summed up the hustle of Nappy Roots. And that's how, hopefully we inspired folks to do that, you know. Keep it nappy.
Yeah, absolutely.
As far as Skinny's concerned, all I can think of is Stevie Wonder. Really, that just really the music that he was making when I was playing in the basement when my father was, you know, my father used to frame pictures, a lot of African American art. So we had a frame shop in the basement. And we would try to sneak in there and, you know, see what he was doing all the time. He would kick us out. But he would always put like Stevie Wonder on his nice little record player and just play it. And I just remember the music that was being made when I was growing up, and it was a lot of Stevie Wonder. And just to make music like that got me to the first part of it. And when we got to college, I was hanging out with this guy, Goody Mob, Outkast. I would say UGK for sure. Trick Daddy, I feel like was hovering around at that time. Wu-Tang, Nas, I might have said that already, but a lot of lyrical stuff, a lot of just dope production that represented the South was really my second wave of just like, yo, we can do this. I know when Clutch said it, we literally listened to Goody Mob's first album, and that just changed the world for me. Like, whoa, you can say that, and people like it, and it's dope, and it's banging, and you can, what? Before that, everything was braggadocious and just really just over the top, but these guys was rapping like how we was, and I always thought of Goody Mob and Outkast and the whole Dungeon like our country cousins. Like, you go on a family reunion, and I didn't really know nobody but Scales from Georgia, but I feel like I could relate to them, and they said so much that related to me from Kentucky. And that was just like, you know, we can do this. When he said it, I said, yo, let's do it, man. Like, we got a bunch of ideas that are just like that, even though we're coming from Kentucky. And no one knows what that looks like. That's a blank slate. We didn't have to compete with New York or the West Coast or even down south. Like, we can come from a place that no one knows and be ourselves. And it's country. Like, you say you're from Kentucky, people start looking down at your feet, see what you got on. Like, you got on shoes. Like,
What kind of horse you drive?
and straw and cows and barns. And it's like, yeah, but it's a pretty nice state. You know, everybody, you know, knows everybody. It's the hub, you know, pretty much what I'll call the hub of the country. It's like the middle part. Everything has to come through that area to get to either the South or the Midwest or the East, unless you're going up 95 or whatever. But it was a good opportunity for us to put our stake into the ground and represent hip hop from a country boy's perspective. And as far as who we've influenced, I think like what Clutch just said, like everybody that comes from a place that's not famous, everybody that comes from a place that you think you can't come from. If you came from Oklahoma or Arkansas or Nebraska, I think Nappy Roots gave you that one little chance that you can make it. Because that's all we had was that one little chance to make it, and somehow all the windows and everything lined up perfectly because we all probably had the same energy going in that same direction. But that just gave people coming from something that wasn't the West Coast or LA or New York or Florida or Atlanta a little bit of hope that you can pull it off. And I hope that's what, even to this day, that we still represent and show you that, yo, even if you follow through 2 or 3 years after your first single, you can do it again. And then after that, you can still do it again if you stay true to what you believe. And I think that's who I think we're trying to speak to, and also hopefully we influence is that.
I'm gonna start calling you preacher man. Preach. I said I'm gonna start calling you preacher man. Yeah, that's the new nickname. Scales, what you got on it?
Well, I'm like Joplin. I don't have influences. I started. No. I can name a lot of people, but I'm gonna say Ice Cube, because Ice Cube, when he dropped Death Certificate, it was like the peak of the West Coast movement, and the West Coast hip hop was really gangster hip hop. And me being from Milledgeville, Georgia, I knew nothing about none of that gangster stuff, but I was so into it. But when Ice Cube dropped Death Certificate, it was like, okay, I could rap about something other than, toting gats and killing people. Like he was rapping about being a Muslim and not eating pork. Whether you agree with it or not, he was rapping about something that I never heard anybody rap about on Death Certificate. And when I heard that album, I'm like, okay, you can make positive hip hop pretty much. You can turn hip hop into whatever you want to make it. And that album changed my life. Still my top 3 album of all time, Ice Cube,
Same.
Death Certificate.
Same.
And as far as who we influence, I think the fact that I'm a 47-year-old rapper who's been doing this for over 25 years and don't have a real job, like this is my job and I always have been, I think that's motivation for my little cousins and people from my small town to be like, okay, it not only do you have to work hard at making it happen, but you have to keep going at it. Like, because we've had super lows, like very low lows as Nappy Roots. And I consider right now as one of our higher points. We're here at the National African American Museum of Music talking about Nappy Roots in 2024. And I can name some years in between that was really low. So I think the inspiration is the fact that we are still here doing it as Nappy Roots.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Still here, still standing. You said something that just sparked a new question for me. You said whether you agree with it or not. So I'm sure that everyone in this room and everyone who is watching, you guys as well, are familiar with the diss tracks, tapes that have just come out with Kendrick and Drake and all of that. I'm not going to ask you who you thought won, and we're not going to talk about that. But I do want to know, like, what your opinions of that type of interaction are.
Well, I listened to the whole little like back and forth tracks on the way here today, and I heard a track I hadn't heard in it, and I don't know, it's crazy. Drake is going in. Kendrick got a song or two that's really crazy, but at the end of the day, it's exhausting for me. Like, I don't like it. I like 1 or 2 songs you go back and forth. But now we talking about kids and wives and stuff. Like, these are rich black men. Like, you supposed to be out of the stress or trying to get out of the stress at that point. But I think it's at a certain point it's good for hip hop because they're not talking about doing violence to each other. We got to note that. They're just rapping but they are calling each other out. But they're showcasing their lyrical talent. But I'm over it. Like, they both might have lost me as a fan at this point.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm over it, man. I don't want to hear no more about your baby mama, your wife, you're a pedophile. These are huge accusations, man. Like, we don't need that. We don't need that. You want to rap, rap. You want to fight, you can fight. Let's keep the guns out. Let's keep like the ultra drama out, man. We in a happy time right now. That's what Nappy Roots do. Like happy music.
For me, Jay-Z said like arguing from a distance look like both of y'all fighting. Like too far away, you're you don't want to talk about your auntie at your school dance. You don't want to go that low just to get a hit or more streams or like it's healthy dialogue in hip hop to battle. You want to battle? We're on the street. We're rapping against each other. We used to do that all the time outside of ET's, which is our record store. It didn't go nowhere though. Like I gotta go to class in the morning. I don't want to lose I have a fan base doing it or saying something that might alienate me from his or hers. Like it's power in unity. And the minute we start trying to do something to break each other off of each other, like I feel like it now becomes destructive. But a healthy battle is a healthy battle. I am a little bit with Scales. Like, I'm not going to buy either one of y'all's album because of this battle. But if you two guys now know that I got to come correct or I got to live better because someone's watching me, even in my darkest days, you got to act accordingly as a grown man anyway or woman. If you're living loose and it's going to come back on you, someone can rap about it and put it into similes and metaphors, and you're really out there. And so, you got people are watching, man. That's what I saw. That's what I got from it. People are watching, and everybody's watching. You two guys right now be the I won't say the beacon of hip hop, but it's like everybody's watching what hip hop does from this. And Biggie and Pac died from this.
Right.
And it wasn't even they didn't even make too many diss records, but people can die from this type of energy and lyricism because that's who we are as a culture and society. If you diss me, some people are going to check you on that. You know what I'm saying? And so you got to be careful. Your words as an artist are very powerful. Your words as an individual, if you have a megaphone, are very powerful. There's some people out here that are very unstable. And you can speak something into existence if you're not careful. So my thought was, all right, it's getting a little hairy, guys. Let's tone it down maybe on this next song. Let's talk about rainbows and flowers. I don't care. But rollerblades and ramps. I don't care. But we have to have a cutoff point to beefing and rap battles. Certain things should be off limits, and certain things should be fair game. And as a battle, it's a battle. And so for hip hop, it is what it is. But when it gets outside of that, that's why I'm like, all right, guys, I've seen people die, and I'm 48. I've seen people die for less than that throughout my life, and they were rappers. I've seen a lot of rappers die for nothing but just being a rapper. And it's like, it's thin ice when we start skating like that. That was my thought.
All of what he said, and we can't forget that, like, with the inception of hip-hop, that period of time, African Americans was going through it. All since our coming here to America,
Diaspora.
It's been we've had issues. But so with hip hop being an extension of that, battle rapping was a part of that. But as we get older, as black starts making green, it's like, okay, we still can have the competitive nature, but we gotta realize like I'm cool with beefing with like the government, the school system, FDA, all them spots. Yeah. So we just need to redirect our angst and our anger and our beef, and we'll fulfill that the nature of hip hop. Because I know Steele's about to come and say,
I'm totally opposite from all these guys.
So
I think Kendrick won the battle.
It's competitive. So you can't take that away. It can't be peaches and rainbow. What Skinny was saying, was trying to say. So we got to find a balance. But go and say what you're gonna say.
Well, I appreciate the I appreciate the lyricism. Right? I'm the youngest in Nappy Roots, and I grew up as a battle rapper too. So
okay.
I appreciate the lyrical exercise that went on, and I also appreciate the spotlight that's on hip hop. Like both all the songs is charting.
Yeah.
Even the song that sticks in my head the most that don't have no lyrics on it, BBL Drizzy, that song there, that's the joint. But none of these guys would have reached in a bag had it not been for that little competitive spirit. But I'm hoping that it all ends peacefully. I'm hoping that Drake continues to sell millions and billions of records, and I'm glad that Kendrick kind of opened his shell up a little bit and showed you his diversity as well. He can do everything. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate the sportsmanship of it.
Yeah, the sportsmanship of it.
And Team Darkskin. Kendrick won.
You just said a mouthful right there, because that is literally a battle that happens every day in this museum. I don't know if AJ is in here. I don't know if he's out there listening, but AJ is security, and there's literally every day he's like, that's the light skin thing you're saying right now. And I'm like, okay, cool. I want to ask you this. When you think about your rap style, the lyrics that you compose, the lyrics that you write, whatever the beat is that drives your freestyle when you're sitting down and you're thinking through this, and this, you got one word to describe your style individually.
Me, I would say, Clutch would say unorthodox. Because it's still evolving. You know, it's going back and forth. You kind of don't know what you're going to get sometime. But when you hear it, you're like, man, that's what I wanted to hear from him right there.
Unorthodox.
So unorthodox, in a constructive, constrained type of way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say slum. Slum is like country, underdog, underground. Like, you know, it's unapologetic, but he's still telling the truth, and it's still nice. You know what I'm saying? I try to make my words and similes and metaphors make sense. I don't like to go over anybody's head. I'm going to tell you like I'm talking to you right now how I am. But I try not to lie. I try not to make nothing up. But my style is very honest. But slums is like, you know, we had a song called Slums, where we represent the slums. And it ain't like Project, but it ain't like, you know, well off either. It's like right in the middle. You just a hardworking man. Nuts and bolts, screws and nails. We just gonna get it done and be honest with it.
Nice, thank you.
I don't know if this is one word, but I don't even know the word for it. But I would just say like slow cook. Like you gotta come. When
Two
you
words.
hear me rap, simmer. That's a good one. Maybe not, but what I'm trying to say is this:
Stew?
I rap, and then you will hear it, and you'll be like, "Okay, that's dope." And then later on, you'll hear like some more stuff that'll be like, "Ah, damn, that's what he meant." And then later on, you'll be like, "Whoa, this like I'm reading it, and this dude like really went in from the first bar to the last, and it all makes sense." And you know, you might not have caught it the first time, so double take maybe. Double take or triple take.
Double take?
Still two words. My style is too much for one word.
I like stew though. Stew was good.
Stew?
It don't sound sexy, but it's kind of like stew is like if you get some stew, you get some good eating right there.
It's
like,
hearty, right? Sticks to your ribs?
Yeah, and
Stays
then
around
later
a
on
while?
you pick that last little meat out your tooth, pause, and be like, "Yeah, man, wow, it was good."
It was good.
I would say my style is, I was going to say slick and describe it the way you did, but I'm going to say honest and or vulnerable. Like I like to be on the track, and I like to even try to say stuff on a song that I don't even tell these guys. Whereas like the song is therapy for me. And I like to release it on the song if I can, you know, to lay it all out to the point where I try to make it a point to when I'm riding home from the studio that I might shed a tear from the song. You know, if I shed a tear from the verse, then I know then I did my job. So honest and vulnerable.
Very good. You do? Aw. That's nice of you.
So I got good friends.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
We don't judge.
You don't. Safe space. Hashtag. The new album, right? I'm sure we're gonna hear some of that tomorrow. Very excited to have you guys on the stage to close this out. I have been listening to Play Close. All right. Very excited about that because it definitely reminds me of all of the things that you guys describe in that. But tell us from your perspective, I would like to know each of like your favorite cut from the album and then what you're really hoping that listeners, maybe new fans, because you got a whole new generation that you're about to reach. So what you're hoping that fans will take from the album.
Well, I want to give a shout out to 808 Blake over here.
808 Blake.
He's produced our last 4, maybe 5 albums.
Yeah, that deserves a round of applause, 808 Blake. Thank you.
That guy right there.
He produced Play Close, and he done us a huge one, man, by just coming in and taking the sound of Nappy Roots from the All My Life Been Po, All Nah, Hell Nah, and kind of bringing it to the 2020s without losing what we do as Nappy Roots. And that's been it's been great working with him to understand and appreciate who we are as Nappy Roots. But as far as favorite songs, I love them, man. Like, we doing probably 3 songs a week, just recording new songs over and over like a young artist. We're back in the studio. We're in the groove of things, making music. I love Play Close. Since that's out, I say that's my favorite record right now. Play Close. It sums it up. It's simple. It's vulnerable. It's honest. And, it's Nappy Roots.
Far as Skinny's concerned, I'm going to say Skate. It's spelled SK number 8. And that just shows that, we're just having fun. It really doesn't have a really point. We're just rapping, even in our mid to late 40s. We're just not trying to be confined as age, but still do what we love to do, but still think outside the box. And to me, that beat, the song itself, it's not even a hook on it. It's just, we just rapping. Like, we don't care, we just rapping. And it's like, it's really lyrical, as if you was from the East Coast or from the Midwest. If you was from Detroit, like the D, those folks be rapping up there. Chicago, they rap, So it's like, Kentucky, how can we represent and do something with a Atlanta beat, a Decatur beat, like how can we represent the hip-hop, how we see it, without conforming or confining to the fads and trends, which is what Nappy Roots is all about, not being conformative to what's going on. If we rap like everybody that was hot right now, we would sound like anybody all the time. And a lot of rappers that do that, they never make it. It's the ones that stay true to what they believe in, what they do. And I think Skate represents what Nappy Roots is all about. It's just lyricism, having fun, not caring what you think about it over a dope beat. And I think Skate is a representation of that.
Very cool. Is there a video out yet for Skate? Just curious.
No, unfortunately.
Okay. Will there be skating?
We wanted it to be that way, but I think if I get on skates right now, I wouldn't get back up.
Trust, I know.
I haven't skated
From
in a while.
experience.
I haven't skated in a while. I used to skateboard back in the day. I learned at 35 I should not do that anymore.
Tell them how you fell down the hill the last time
I
you
hurt myself
skateboard.
so bad. 35, I was going down my hill in my neighborhood, thought I could do it, started wobbling, fell, tore up everything. My kids, my wife came home, they all laughed at me. I had tape and bandages and Neosporin on me. But what really was bad about that is no one saw me do it at noon on my birthday. So, but Skate is it's a vulnerable song for me. It brings a tear to me based on what you just brought up. Thank you, my therapist. But having fun and living life is also what that song represents. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna give a generic answer and say the whole album.
Let me say mine answer
from
first.
There goes a heckler on the stage. Heckler.
Rise and grind to Skate to Hotel Lobby. It bangs, like it hits hard, and we're touching on all subject matter, and it's mature, but it's still cool and hip. So it's Nappy Roots makes albums. So when you throw in a Nappy album, you gotta let it ride. So there's another shameless plug for the vinyl. Who I heard's got vinyl?
Got vinyl.
Okay, we got some. Okay, if they got vinyl, they got record players. So we got about 8 or 9 folks to raise their hands. So vinyl's not dead, and that's just a testament to that type of technology where that outlasted cassette tapes, CDs, and it's if you do the numbers on it, vinyl was still up there, So I'm gonna say part 1 is banging. Part 2 is it's a beast too. It's a beast too. So yeah.
So what's your favorite song?
Nappy for Life, part 1.
All right, cool. All right, so if we just gonna throw out, my favorite song is actually a Tupac record. It's called "I Ain't Mad at You." We just gonna name songs.
On your album.
Oh, I thought
that
we
just
just naming
came out.
songs and stuff. All right, so as far as Nappy Roots songs
On this one.
this new album, Nappy for Life Part 1, my I guess my favorite go-to is Photograph. It's a song about shout out to Amy Myers. She's from Japan. She's from Japan. She's a amazing pianist. I said it that way because I didn't want anybody to misconstrue what I just said. And she's a crazy singer too. And so we've done amazing songs in the past, but this one is called Photograph. And Scale spits my favorite verse on that record. But basically it's just about us. If you was to take a yearbook of your life and just flip through the pages, that's what is going to be playing in the background. That song is called Photograph. So, I mean, every time I hear that song, it just makes me realize how far we've come and everything we've gone through. And it's just a complete record. I love that song. So you made that beat too, right? Shout out to 808 Blake. Photograph.
808 Blake. We tried to get 808 Blake on the panel earlier, but he Thank you, Skinny, for that announcement. Yeah. Sorry, Skinny just threw me off. Usually it's the president who's making that announcement. So Mr. Dion Brown.
We did say we 47. Like it's only so long we can sit.
That you can sit here. Yeah, we're wrapping up. We're wrapping up. So this is the last question. Oh, of course, we'll see you guys tomorrow. 6:45, they come on stage, but please join us. We open at 12. We have some incredible talent that is hitting the stage before Nappy takes the stage. So join us all day long. Put your shorts on, buy a shirt, rep the museum. Last year we had about 3,000 people down here blocking off Broadway. I'm a native Nashvilleian. Broadway being blocked off for us is like, yeah, hands down. Like, it's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
Congratulations, y'all.
Yeah, thanks for that. We're really excited. So before we head off and you get your hall passes for the bathroom and all that good stuff, one thing that you just want whoever is listening to hear you say, to land on their ears, to land in their heart. What do you want to leave them with?
Support. We need y'all. We need y'all's help. We need y'all to follow us. We need y'all to like our posts. We need y'all to spread the word, share the links. Click, you know what I mean? Like whatever song you like, man, share that to like 10 people, man, because Nappy Roots is independent. I mean, we started off with Atlantic Records and we had the whole machine pushing us. We didn't really have to worry about that, but now we're independent. So every click counts, every stream counts, and we don't support each other like we should. I think that we should start like coming back to like, man, support the music that you love, because we make stuff that kind of gets you through y'all's problems too. You see what I'm saying? It gets us through our problems too, but it's so many countless stories of people saying, man, I needed that song, you know what I mean? It changed my life, or my house burnt down and I'm in this car and the only thing was y'all CD and it just got me through this whole rough situation. Utilize this opportunity to support the artists that y'all love. And even the local artists in Nashville, not just saying Nappy Roots, but yeah, support music.
I would say support. It's all about support. And just to take it on a human level, like, support yourself. Like, you never know when somebody's going through some things that you might have been going through, and you dealing with that, you trying to get your music off the ground, you're trying to paint, you teaching, you're a mechanic, you want to open up your own garage, is know that the universe is on your side. So find a way to find some joy in the pain of the situation. Because, sometimes we get caught up and it's like, oh, man, why is this happening to me? Or why am I going through this? Or why did we go through that? And it's like, okay, you got to go through this little rough patch right here to get to that, that running water, that pot of gold on the rainbow. And as long as you know that that's part of it, then it won't seem like it's so far away. It's like, okay, I went through this, I went through that, I was late, blah, 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 but we're going to have a good day. I know that's coming. I know it's coming.
Have a good day.
Keep hope alive.
To piggyback off what Clutch said, I say believe in yourself. If you're following something you want to do in life, you got to do it. You got to sacrifice something to get to where you're going. And you got to not let nobody tell you that you can't do it. A lot of people tell you, if I was you, I would block that from that part off and say, this is what I want to do, but educate yourself too. Education is key to whatever you want to do, is knowing how to do it. Someone's going to come in, even when you get remotely successful, someone's going to come in and try to take advantage of your success and piggyback off that. But if you're knowledgeable, educated, you surround yourself with a team, you believe in yourself, and you know it's going to take some time, love what you do, or it's going to be miserable. If you love what you do, you never have to work a day in your life, and everybody says that, but it's true. You have to put in work, but it won't feel like it. You can be 50, 55, you can still follow your dreams. You can be 25 and follow your dreams. You can be 16 and know what you want to do. If that's what you want to do, then just do it, because a lot of people in life, it works like that. Life will give you a bunch of things to distract you from the end result, because it knows that if you get distracted, it's not for you. And so you got to follow your dreams, believe in yourself. And then also what Steele said, you got to support. You got to support other artists that are doing the same thing that you're doing. Like, you got to do all those things in order to find success. And success, as you know, is not a straight line. It's a squiggly line with a bunch of trap doors. But you got to give yourself grace and patience and understanding that, you're here for the right reason, and give that back as well. Once you get where you're going, don't let the next person fall through the same traps. You got to show them, hey, if I was you, which goes back to what I just said, but you listen to people that were successful versus the people that weren't successful at what you're doing. So be honest with yourself and believe in yourself. And I think those are the things that I would say got us to where we are.
Yep. And I want to say, just every day, man, find something to be grateful for. Realize that today is the best day of your life. I try to find a way to say that every day. Like, this is the best and most important day of my life. Like, I mean, as I get older, I'm losing people, and I just have to tell myself every day, you're still here. Like, this is the best day of your life, man. You should be grateful that you have this day, because a lot of people that I know don't have this day. So you got to be thankful for this day right here, this moment, not even this day, this moment right here. So this is the best moment of my life right here.
Beautiful. Thank you guys so much for joining us this afternoon. We're really, again, honored to have you, excited to see you tomorrow. For those of you in the audience, for those of you out in the streaming world, we'll see y'all tomorrow too. We'll see y'all next week for everything else that is planned. It's coming. Please join us. Bring your fans. Stay hydrated. All right. It's going to be hot tomorrow. True Southern. We're bringing the heat, right? Bringing
Nappy
the heat in all the
Roots.
ways. Yeah, Nappy
Roots
Roots. Nappy Roots. Thank you, guys.
Thank y'all. I love y'all. Shout out to my family that came from Smyrna, Tennessee, that came and showed up in the house.
Yeah. Shout out to the fam.
You see, she got September 16th, but I didn't plan that. Like, y'all was just like, how did she get that? That's Nappy Roots holiday. That's Nappy Roots Day that she got. Shout out, Jackie. Thank you for
Okay.
sure.
September 16th.
No. This is Mary. This is Mary's aunt. This is my wife's family. Yeah.
So
And Mary's cousin.
Who was the heckler that was out there?
That was
Oh,
Boogie,
that's
man.
that was from your team.
That's Boogie, bro.
You were getting heckled from your team.
Boogie. When we were signing autographs in Louisville, it was the fifth week after Watermelon Chicken and Grits came out. Like we knew to it. It had only been out 5 weeks, and our road manager came to me. He said, "Bro, we just got David Letterman," and that let me know, like, okay, it's on. Like